at one time, 200 plus. Number of vehicles expected at one time varies, 50 plus. Purpose, annual carnival, amusement rides, games, food, and soft drink concessions. There is no admission fee. They did provide portable restrooms, water supply from the village upon approval. They also have in here, in the packet, a drawing of, sketch of the location of the pieces that make up the carnival. They also provided a 30-yard dumpster. The permit will be issued to McDaniel Brothers Shows out of Lodi, New Jersey. They've been doing it for a number of years, right? 5 years? Monell Fire Department will be notified prior to the event. Blooming Grove Volunteer Ambulance Corps will be notified prior to the event. All appropriate departments will be notified in advance of the event. Members of the Knights of Columbus, periodic visits by the Washingtonville Police Department. Like I said, this has been going on and getting more popular, I should say, right, in the past 5 years.
Yes.
Something that I think is awesome for the village. We're looking at the same time of year. Hopefully the weather will be like this year. I think it only rained one night,
Correct.
the first night, I believe.
No, Saturday or
The
Sunday.
Saturday night. I know it was very well attended by the residents of the village, as well as the town. So, any questions on this? If you ask any questions, please feel free to.
Yeah, I just have a comment or a question, because it is getting bigger and bigger, I agree. It's almost outgrown Burnell. Have you ever considered another site, maybe Mace Field or something
We
that's bigger?
have not. Burn Allen just seems to be the perfect location. All we hear is how everybody they come out over the hill out of Southbury, they see it there. And we do realize that it is growing every year, and we are looking, and we're willing to think of other options as far as parking and accommodating the people.
The parking seems to be the issue, not so much the area of the field, the
Right.
parking.
Right, so we believe we were discussing other options of maybe offering a shuttle service to do off-site parking, so we don't have such a crowded parking lot at Burnell.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
The people that run it, that with the campers there, it looked like a campground when you pulled in too. So the same people that came down the hill and saw the carnival said, wow, look at that. To me, it looked like, looked like a campground.
Well, I do know that we do have most of their campers off-site. We keep them at the Knights of Columbus. I do know they like to leave 1 or 2 people there for security purposes, to watch the rides, to watch their equipment and such like that. But that's something we need to try to figure out and to address. This is something we are very proud of. We work very hard on. We want to just make sure that it works for both us and for the village.
I think the maintenance afterward too is, you guys should be in there like the day after.
I believe this year we went in,
It was like 1 or 2, we go with the next one.
I was there, I talked to Mandy that day, the day that you guys were there. You guys had just left, I saw you dragging the sign back to the Knights. And I walked in there and there was still rust in the upper part.
and we are 100%, give us a phone call, we will make sure anything like that is taken care
There's
of.
still some holes down there now. When I was down there for the fireworks, there was still some in that same area.
Yeah, that's not a problem. If we go over with our volunteers, we take care of the field. If you guys have DPW, whoever goes and inspects the field, please reach out. We will go back and do whatever it takes to make it right, to make sure that this thing, stays where it is.
Does the police department do background checks on all employees?
On who?
On the
On nights or the
No,
carnival?
not on the nights, but on the employees and the carnival people.
We've never asked him. We never had any problem with Richard either. He doesn't use migrant workers and stuff like that, the rules.
There's nothing against migrant workers, I'm talking about any worker.
I'm just saying, a lot of carnivals do use it, that's why I bring it
Yeah,
up.
but we don't know who this guy uses, I don't care who they are, we don't know, that's the whole thing, we don't know who they are. Next year, you might have a whole different crew, or, I mean, I think that each person that works at that carnival, just look at what's in the news today, everything that's in the news, you don't know who's there. So, I mean, at least you gotta do a name check on everybody that works that carnival. If they're in this village, they're walking around, you see them walking around on 94, I don't know who that guy is walking down 94, coming back from Gigi's with pizza, yeah, but who is it? You know, is it somebody that I wouldn't want walking down my street in the village? I don't know, because we don't do any name checks. I think we should run a name check on everybody that runs in there,
Okay.
Is that something we can do?
before they're allowed to work there.
Is that something we can do? I mean, we have the ability to.
It'd probably be lengthy, but, you know, I mean, get their names and driver's licenses or whatever and run them.
Isn't that up to the event itself to do?
Yeah, I believe the carnival should be, carnival, if I may.
Yes.
I think that's on the carnival
I think so.
operator to provide that. I don't think it should be taxed by.
Have they provided that in the past?
Well, this is something that's being brought up tonight. That is something we will address with them.
If I
Yeah.
can,
Yes.
14 years the carnival's been in place. First for 11 years, or 9 years at our place, the last 5 years here. No carnival owner has ever been asked to submit the names of his employees, do background checks. So what you're mentioning, I understand the validity, but I don't think it's ever been done. I don't know, legally, we can
Yeah, but
find out.
maybe we've been very lucky for those years.
Well, I'm saying as a general practice, it's
I
not
know, so
done.
as I said, maybe we've been really lucky all these years. It only takes one. Do we want that in the village? Do we want that to happen, whatever it might be in the village? And it could be anything. I mean, you know.
We'll look into it. I mean, I really don't know. I guess we'd speak to the legal counsel or something like that, because I really don't know. We'll look into it though.
Thank you.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion that was contingent on background checks.
For confirming that they do background checks.
Yeah.
Company.
Company or us, I mean, a company is gonna,
Is it free?
is a company gonna tell you, yeah, these guys are all okay? I don't know, do I trust the company?
Yeah, but if we have 250 people, is it free?
No, it's not free. Cheap, yeah.
I don't think our local law allows a request for that, and remember, if it is done, we probably shouldn't just do it for the carnival, we should do it for every vendor. The fireworks, anything, but I understand what Paul's concern is, but I don't think the law right now allows that, and if somebody comes in for a background check for a solicitor's permit, really all we're doing is checking their name that they give us. We try to do as much as a background we can, but a true background by a third party, by somebody else done through fingerprints, that gives.
No, can't we just do a name check or
If you give me a name, I can run a name, but that doesn't really
name
mean,
and date of birth?
that doesn't really mean, you know, if you give me Rich Calor's name and I run it, but you're telling me that's your name, you need to have proper ID, picture, have information like that. But the board's talked about it before, about doing it for vendors. I don't
I
think
think
we
we
just ever
spoke about
progressed
it
about it.
with Little League,
Yeah.
and it was
Little
said
League
that,
says they do it,
it was said that,
they do it, they check the
But we
postage.
trust that they do it,
right, so we have to trust that they do the same thing.
yeah.
Trust.
Yeah, but, you know, I think we
I'm just saying,
we don't use that word enough.
in today's,
I hear you, and I think
World.
it's a valid point. But I think that this place is, McDaniel's has been in business for years, okay, they're not a fly by night. And I'm sure that if you made that phone call, they would say, we do that.
Correct.
You know, it would fall back on them. I know it's on us too, don't get me wrong. But it falls back, you know, who would hire them? something was to happen, we didn't have an
I
organization.
don't know. Again, get lucky.
Yeah, well, you know, and I think, you know, what the chief is saying, yeah, I could say his name is Barry White, but that doesn't mean that.
Well, you
You
need
know,
a
the same-
valid ID.
Like, right now, a solicitor comes in, like,
But it's not a local law right now. I think it's something that we could work towards, because I agree that we need it, but I don't think we need to,
Would a letter from the company that runs the carnival stating that they do background checks be good enough?
to me, I would feel it's on them, and,
Right, because then they, well, not they, but.
you know, but we don't, you know, does anybody know the background of the fireworks people?
Yeah,
Or the
no.
background of the ice cream person?
I know your background.
You don't know mine? I know yours because I did run it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
That's why I said don't use my name.
You know, so I think we should move towards that as we move forward, because it's not gonna be the last time they come up.
And going back to what Rich said, I'd like to see, investigate other options too for you guys. You know, bigger and better.
But don't you
I
think
think-
it's good that it's in the village?
There's not enough room, it's getting outgrown, it is getting crowded.
Yeah, but
I
so
mean,
is
it does-
Washingtonville,
it
so you
does-
want to
So-
move that
so
too?
which-
Washingtonville's,
It-
no offense, larger than that, I
Yeah.
mean, you can't,
I
that's the
think,
purpose
yeah,
of these things, to
this
bring
is-
people in.
Materially driving on the field, that's people walking on the field.
well, that's something that
Well,
we could
Washingtonville,
work
we have
out.
horse
It's just,
right now.
again, if I may,
Tom,
as far as any repair, I mean, that's,
right.
it's to your standards, we will take care of it 100% on our cost as well.
Can I just
I-
say something?
I think it's so important to have this within the village.
I agree, yeah.
And to move it somewhere else will not be doing them any favors, and certainly won't be doing yours. It's grass.
How did, you know how Chester did? Didn't Chester KFC do this?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they did it behind the church, you couldn't even see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with their carnival.
I just want to say one thing. When you called me, I called Pat to ask the mayor about, what's his name, Chris coming out to roll that one section. We went out there. Generally speaking, if the depressions are an inch or more deeper, we bring in, I think it was like 10 yards of soil. We have a guy with a tractor who spreads it out by grass and straw. Now, when you came there, it had to be shortly before or after we left. And I'm talking about when the guys came out there with rakes, we were raking everything out. Because we were there to 12:30, 1:45, and I didn't see you. So the one little trough that you talked about on the side, we had put grass seed in there, and I spoke to Pat. Pat said he called the mayor, asked Chris to come out there, because I spoke to Chris, I said, yeah, give the mayor the message. And all he had to do was flatten it out with a roller. I mean, if there's a cost involved with that, we would have paid for it. But every year we do the same thing. The day after we walk out to pick up obvious trash and garbage, you know, evaluate the condition of the field, didn't bring as much dirt and grass and straw that we need to repair it.
Just to take the argument, Tom Beanley, just to take the deputy mayor's discussion a little further. What about the farmer's market? Do you do a background check on all the
Good
vendors?
point, you're good, that's a good point.
All right, so I mean, what you're saying to them, do for everyone else
Right,
then.
that's what we just said, we just
I
said.
agree.
It's something that we need to work on, but I don't think it's gonna be settled tonight.
No, but I'm just saying, I mean,
Great
he's
point.
talking about the KSC.
Yes.
They go to the farmer's
Yes.
market and the fireworks or any other
Correct.
festival you have in the town. Okay?
All right, so we have a motion made by trustee Galore, seconded by trustee Legato. Roll call. Trustee Galore,
Yes.
trustee Mack,
Yes.
deputy mayor Lang,
Yes.
trustee Legato. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
ladies.
Thank you, guys.
You know, when I hear kids at the high school, which I don't hear anymore, they talk about this, you know, next Friday, whatever the date is. So it's very important to, I think it's important to the village that you remain here.
We
Okay?
agree.
And we will do what we need to do to keep you.
Thank you.
Okay, We have to get to item number 3, building department violations. 3 Congress Drive, multiple commercial vehicles. A letter of violation was sent out to 3 Congress Drive on 4/11/19. They are violations of the code of the Village of Washingtonville and/or IFC, IBC, PMC, and the above noted premises, at the above noted premises. The violations include within any R100 district, the following accessory uses shall be permitted pursuant to Articles 16
16,
and 17. The following are permitted: parking and storage of vehicles and equipment other than specifically noted herein shall be prohibited. Private garage or private parking area for personal vehicles customary associated with permitted uses. Private garage or private parking area for not more than 1 truck of not more than 3/4